Okay, we're going to look at some problems here where they ask about the y-intercept and the slope and ask you to graph the line. That's all cool, but they do it wrong. What do I mean by that? They want you to memorize something and then tell them if it exists and then go find it. That's dumb. Why don't we go try to find it? And if it exists, we'll find it. It's kind of Immanuel Kant would say in philosophy, I think, therefore I am. It's proof that if you find it, it exists. Not let's do some deep thinking and say, oh, I memorized something that tells me it exists and now I'll go find it. We're going to try and find it until we can't find one, and then we'll come back and we'll say, oh, I guess it doesn't exist. Or not even I guess, I'm sure it doesn't exist, if that's the case. But let's go after this one. Find the slope of the line. Here it is y equals 4x minus 2. That's also known as y equals x plus, right? I want to get the two things that are going to help me recognize this, and y equals mx plus b. And I kind of want to have that available to me a lot. Not just b, but in this case, well, what a mess I've made of things, huh? Well, you know what? Any job is easier with the right tool, so let's try that again. Plus, here we want to put the 2 that's up there as negative 2. But what I was thinking of putting up here for us was that y equals x plus, and we always have y equals mx plus b, but how about letting colors work for us as well? Y equals mx plus b, so m will be right here in red and b in green. I start with b in green because it's the go. You get going with b and you finish with stopping after you use the slope. So let's see what we got here. Find the slope. The slope is 4. M equals 4 because it's in the m position. Now, I don't like them saying, does the y-intercept exist? So we're going to come back to that after we jump down here and we do question C. What is the y-intercept? The y-intercept is a y value that you're going to find when x equals 0. So let's go ahead with that. Let's let x equal 0 and go on in here. Y equals 4 times 0 plus negative 2. Y equals 0 plus negative 2. Y equals negative 2. The y-intercept is also using the value of b to help yourself get there. But what point did that get for us? It got us this point, 0 for x and negative 2 for y. So what's the y-intercept? We got it. 0, negative 2. Does the y-intercept exist? Here's that thing. That's why I do it this way. Yeah, I just found it. I can't find something that doesn't exist, so yes, it exists. What you do is you do both of those questions on paper, and then you tell Connect Math, yes, it exists, and then you immediately give them what the number is. Now, they want me to graph this thing. That's fine. I can do that for them. 0, negative 2 is my original point, so I'm going to go for that down, right? It's a negative 2 below the origin. And then it says use the slope. So m is equal to 4, which is 4 over 1. Now I need some words like up 4 for the positive up or down, and then right 1. And so go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and right 1. And I am ready to make that line. And so I'm going to do that. And there's my sketch. And I'm done with that kind of problem. Right? So I would go from A, then answer question C that I found it, and then go back up and say, all right, yeah, sure. So now we're going to look at another one that might require just a little bit more or slightly different work, but it's going to be the same kind of stuff. So I'm going to take down the line. Right? I'll fix up my graph in a little bit, but all this is out of the way, because that one's done. And I got one that's kind of the same type of problem. I'm going to leave that 0 there. I'm going to leave the arrows. I'm not sure I'm going to leave the yes there. And m equals, I'm good with that. We take this down, take that down. And what's really happening is they're going to ask me to do another problem of the same type. This is 4x minus 9y. Well, let's see. Oh, no. 2x plus y equals 5. That's what they tell me. That is the equation of a line. It's not the equation exactly the way we're used to dealing with it. 2x plus y equals 5. We've got to isolate the y. The other one came with y equals, and a lot of people say, oh, I can do that. Here we got to get the y equals alone by subtracting 2x off each side. Y equals, add them up, right? That's gone. We got the y. We have a negative 2x plus we have a 5. Y equals plus, right? We got the x plus. And now let's make sure the colors are doing the job for us to help with those who use colors as an aid. 5 is back there in green, negative 2 right here. Great. So what we've got for them as needed is m equals negative 2, which is negative 2 over 1, and that'll eventually be down 2 because it's negative, and right 1. So when I need the slope, I'm ready to do that. B is equal to 5. Now I grab the black marker because the intercept, the y-intercept, is almost always the same. It's got a 0 up front. It's in an ordered pair with a 0 leading me in for x, and I got 0, 5. Okay, so what's m? M is -2. That's my slope after I isolated y, not just grab it, whatever's sitting in front of x, but isolate y, and then get that going on. What's b? B is 5. What does that mean? My intercept is 0, 5. I got to give him the whole thing, the parentheses, the comma, the 0 in front. Now, does it exist? I just found it, so yes, it exists. And so the equation of the line, if they were to ask me for the entire equation of the line, would be what we got there, y equals -2x plus 5, right? We fill in those blanks. Sketch the graph, plus 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, they want me to go to -2x. I can actually still get this done. It's down 2 and right 1, and I can do that. I'm starting at the 0, 5, going down 2 and right 1, right? I mean, you probably want this a little better looking because it's a new problem, but still. I have the two things that I need. The anchor point at the y-intercept, and then I'm working my way down, and I got my graph here as well. So that's what goes on. Maybe I had to work a little harder to isolate the y here, but y equals mx plus b. So now they get one that's even slightly more of a challenge in the sense that the numbers don't all work out to be integers. I sure hope that the y-intercept comes out to be an integer, because if it doesn't, it's going to be really a pain for anyone to have to graph it. It can be done approximately, but it can't be done perfectly because landing between two integers creates an impossibility of perfect graphing. So let's get this thing back up here. Okay. And the next one they want me to work on, 4x minus 9y equals 2. 4x minus 9y equals 2. Now this is one I drew from the homework, and it's slightly different when it gets to the end, and I'll tell you why. It wants me to find the slope, and I need the equation of the line and all that, so I'm going to get it set up. 4x plus -9y equals 2. I'm going to subtract 4x off each side, start to get the y term along. -4x plus 2, divide by -9 in all three places. A little tougher than the ones we've had before, but it does make y. Opposite of negative is positive, so I'm just going to have 4/9 with an x plus -2/9. That is y equals x plus, where the slope is, I get 4/9. I'm not too worried about that. I can go up 4, right 9. I might need a pretty big piece of graph paper, but I can get that done. My value for b is -2/9. So I found its slope for m, and the slope for m here that this thing was going to use for m for the slope is m equals 4/9. And they're both positive, so that's going to be up 4, and it's going to be right 9. If I need it, that's what I got to do. So I got the slope of 4/9. Does the y-intercept exist? Well, let's see. B is equal to something. B is equal to -2/9. I didn't ask if I liked it yet. But does that get me the y-intercept? Yeah, it does. It gets me 0 and -2/9. Oops, I should do the -2/9 in green because that's the way I've been doing it. It's the thing that changes from line to line. All the other 4 parts of this, parentheses, comma, and the 0 that's in front of the comma, do not change. -2/9. So my y-intercept is -2/9. Does it exist? Well, yeah, I just found it. Does it exist? Yes. Do I want to graph it? No. Do you want to graph it? That's up to you. Can anyone guarantee me they'll graph it perfectly? I don't think so. Did they ask me to graph it? That's the good news. This problem on the homework does not include this part of the question. And it's not because of the 4/9 that it would be so brutal. It's because this is going to have to somehow find its way accurately to 2/9 of the way between 0 and 1 going down. And that would look a lot like 1/3. Or, you know, it might look like, I don't know, 3/14 and other things that aren't distinctly going to tell you what it is. So we're happy that they did not ask us to graph that one. Okay, they could. Well, you know, people can do a lot of things that are mean and not very useful. And luckily, in that case, they did not. But if they did, we'd be able to do our best, right? Do your best to graph it. But you know, when your math teacher says do your best, that means they don't expect you to get it right. They just want to see, can you get close? And that's all you can do when you have a fraction as part of the ordered pair. One of the coordinates is like that. Okay, so now we're going to be asked to graph the line through 0, -3 with a slope of 2/3. Through 0, clue coming your way, -3, with a slope of 2/3. I jumped off so I could get some color in here. I mean, we got a color camera and color on the internet, so why not? Y equals slope x plus intercept. If they want to find the equation, y equals slope x plus intercept. M is 2/3. I got it right there when they said the slope is 2/3. That's telling me that M is actually equal to 2/3. So I'm going to put a 2/3 right in there. And this, telling me the point, we're lucky that the point is 0, -3, because that then directly tells me that B is -3. And therefore I only put the -3 there, and it's time to graph it, because that's the second part of this question. All right, cool. I'm going to go through here, go 1, 2, 3 down, 1, 2, 3 up to the top, up that way, and I'll see if that's enough. I've got 0, -3, right? I have that from them, 0, -3. My anchor point, in this case, my y-intercept. I'm now going to use my slope, m equals 2/3. Positive 2 on top is going to be up, not down. And I'm going to go to the right, not the left, when I have a positive 3 on the bottom. So I'm going to go up 2 and right 1, 2, 3. Get to that one. They want me to sketch this graph. I need those 2 points. You can see that point is 3, -1. You don't need to, but you can probably see it if you go looking. And if I put a 3 in there, 6/3 is 2 minus 3 does get me -1, and that's great. There's my equation of the line. There's my graph. Missing quadrant 2 because it's below the origin and going uphill from left to right. Now a little bit of different move on this. They want me to do the same kind of stuff. Same kind of stuff, not the same exact stuff. But they want me to work for it. Why? Because they don't give me the value of the intercept. They give me some other point. All right, let's see what they say. This has a slope of -3. All right. M equals -3, -3/1, and down 3, right 1. Okay, that's all good because they give me that slope. Not so nice of them to offer this. -1, 2. So I got work to do. Find the equation of the line. Same question, more work. Why? Because m is equal to -3, I can work with that. And I've got an x and a y I can work with. M is equal to -3. The exact y that they gave me, I'll call it y1, is a 2. And the x that they gave me, an exact x, I'll call it x1, I'll call that -1. Y equals mx plus b. Let's go with 2 equals, my slope is -3. I need to multiply it by my -1 and then add b. I don't know b yet. I can get it, but it's going to take a little bit of work. Work doesn't mean hard or taking a long time, but it's not automatic. All right, so 2 stays. -3 times -1, that's the opposite of negative for positive. 3 times 1 is 3 plus b. I'll subtract 3 off each side. -1 for b. Looks like what we got here is y equals x plus, for b I came up with just now, -1. Not too long ago, I looked and saw that they gave me -3 for my slope. Find the equation of this line. All right, y equals -3x plus 10. I do have to give them the y equals, and then the -3x plus the -1. Want me to graph that thing? I can do that. B is -1, so that means that if b is -1, then I'm going to get this point, 0, -1, a perfect starting point for my green point, the y-intercept, 0, -1. From that spot, I want to do what this says. Go down 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the right 1. I'll take that. Be able to make this line for you. It's the process of a homework problem like that is, you know, determine y equals mx plus b. You know everything but b. Do the process to find out what b is. Come back, give me y equals slope x plus intercept. Graph the y-intercept. Use the slope to get another point. Pretty much always ends up with passing a line through 2 or 3 points to get a graphed line. Let's see. We got this one, which says, we're going to give you the line 3x minus 2y equals 8, and they want you to find it in slope-intercept form and graph it. 3x minus 2y equals 8. So it's the same stuff. Kind of. (3x minus 2y equals 8 is what they want me to start with. And they want the equation of a line in slope-intercept form. Okay, I can get you that. I'll take my 3x plus -2y equals 8. I'll subtract 3x. -2y equals -3x plus 8. I don't want -2y, I want plain old 2y. Let me divide by -2 in all 3 places. Y equals, opposite of negative is positive, but 3 over 2 doesn't reduce. So I'll put that 3 over 2 in front of x, plus single negative means I'll get a negative outcome when I divide 8 by 2 and get 4. And therefore I've got for them y equals x plus, and exactly what I'm looking for is -4 back here for my green, and 3/2 up here in my red. And that's what they asked for. That's cool. So I got that. They also asked me to graph it. And in order to do that, I need some more information coming out of this. I need my m equals 3 over 2. I'm glad it's already a fraction, but I need words in front of the 3 and the 2. Up or down for positive will be up. Left or right for positive will be right. Slope's ready to work. The b value right there is -4, which tells me now that's actually a point that I can graph. It's going to be the y-intercept, and that's going to come at me with a 0 for its x. It's going to be in parentheses, have a comma in between the coordinates, give me 0, -4. So I'm going to start at 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to put in there my first point, 0, -4. From there, I'm going to go, what the red requires of me to do is to go up 3, followed by right 2. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, and also to the right 2. So I'm up 3 and right 2, I'm there. That's all I need as far as anchoring and then drawing my line. I go through it, and I keep on going up into quadrant 1. I keep going down this way into quadrant 3. Quadrant 3, I'm missing quadrant 2 because I'm below the origin, going uphill and missing quadrant 2. Now here's one that might look like it's got a shot at doing some work with intercepts. Closer inspection might speak otherwise. But it's kind of the same type of problem. So this stuff is going to go in the same type of pattern. But if my job is to graph the line, I might be always keeping in my mind the opportunity to think about graphing it with just the two intercepts. Putting in 0 can be pretty rewarding and pretty quick to get through. This is 4x equals negative 2y plus 6. And 6 is my number. It's not isolated, but I could probably work with that. 6 divided by 4, that doesn't work out. So it's not going to be good for intercepts. I should proceed with taking my 4x equals negative 2y plus 6. And I want to get the y alone. And I don't like the y being negative. So I have an option here. I can subtract 6 off both sides, but now I have negative 2y. That's not a huge problem, but maybe I'll just do this. I'll add 2y to both sides. That's gone. Y is over here. Y is positive. Let me subtract the 4x. Gets his own column because it's a new kind of term. This is gone, and now you have 2y equals negative 4x plus 6. I'll divide each term by 2, and I'll get the same thing other people were getting. Y equals negative 2x plus 3. The other way would have me dividing all the terms by negative 2. The y would be on the right side. Not my favorite. This is a little better for me. And now I can go ahead and help people focus by saying y equals something x plus something, right? Y equals slope x plus intercept. How about the slope being negative 2? And the y-intercept relying on b being equal to 3. M equals negative 2. It's negative 2 over 1. And that 2 is going to be down because it's negative. But the 1 is still positive, so that's going to be to the right. 1. B equals 3. Got that. What does that mean? It means I have a point, which is a y-intercept. So the first coordinate is 0, and the y that I just found is going in there, 0, 3. I can now graph this by going to 0, 3. Now that's positive 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good. From there, I want to do this. Down 2 and right 1. So I go down 2 and to the right 1, I make another point. Those are the 2 points that have me anchored and then shooting in the direction to complete the line, which then punches down into quadrant 4 and up to the left into quadrant 2, missing quadrant 3. It's above the origin. It's going downhill from left to right, and it misses quadrant 3. Now we got this weird one. It's the last one I want to do for this online version of homework 16.2. And it's a weird one. Weird ones can be oddball lines, and they do pop up and make things happen. And a line has a slope of 0. So that's weird. That's not impossible. And it passes through this point. 0 and negative 2 over 7. It's going to ask me to find the equation of the line. And graph the line. I'll show you what I do by knowing stuff, not by memorizing stuff. This line passes through 0, negative 2, 7. Negative 2 sevenths. So x and y, one point that I have is 0 and negative 2 sevenths. Okay. I'm going to put that on the graph because that is one thing that is on the graph. And therefore, it's not all the way down to 1. It's in this weird position. It's like 2/7 of the way down. So it's like that. Kind of weird. And now I know that it has a slope of 0, which means that what we get is if we were to do the change between 0 and negative 2/7 and something else, that we have to get a 0 on top here. That means this can't change. So I'm going to have negative 2/7 again. Now the one I might choose to use would be 1. I could certainly do another one where I put in 2 and negative 2/7, but what we're going to find is if this has a slope of 0, then I'm going to have this point where I'm sitting on that 0, -2/7, and I don't go up or down at all. And then I hit this one. And if I go over another one, I can do that also. But what I'm finding is this is particularly weird because it's not like it's -2 or -7. It's -2/7. It's really kind of a bit nasty. And it gives me this flat line because that's what happens. Zero effort on a flat line. I got a flat line going through that. Now what I'm looking at is I want to find the equation of the line, and there is something that never changes. If I put a circle or an oval anyway over this, it says that y equals -2/7 because y always equals -2/7. With y equaling -2/7, then I am certain that that's the name of the line. It doesn't have an x in it. I didn't memorize what that means, but all the y's are -2/7 because it goes through that point and it stays flat. So it never goes up or down off -2/7. So put a lot of nastiness in this all at once, graphing something between 0 and 1 in the negatives as a coordinate, and then making you stay on that. That had a lot of tough stuff in it, but it does stretch the muscles, get us going okay. So we're done with this. That's what we got for 16 to even have an oddball line in it. Done.